Mark, let's start with you, because you're on the ground in Poland, and you have been working with Operation Blessing, and you have been assisting, as George had mentioned, millions of people who are fleeing. So, can you tell us a little bit about where you're at, what you're doing, what you're seeing?
Yes, of course, when the war broke out on the Wednesday the 24th, things have escalated in such a rapid way, and we decided to also send our team in to assess the situation, and I'm part of that team. I'm one of the Operation Blessing staff that are here present on the ground. And in those days, since we hit the ground, we've seen so much rapid developments, and thinking about the people we met, the churches we visited, the information we gathered about the needs and of this very rapidly escalating refugee crisis, being right at the border here. So first of all, we set up a little bit further north from where we are now to kind of find out what are the churches doing and what is happening on the ground, and looking at the border crossings and what's happening at the border crossings. And we found that already the influx of refugees was tremendous. It's staggering. Thousands of people crossing the border every day, and it doesn't stop. It's a continuous flow of people escaping Ukraine and coming into Poland here, and it's also in very cold temperature, because we've been in sub-zero temperatures here at the border crossing. And it's just heartbreaking, where you see long queues of people standing in line. They first have to wait for a long time before they can get to Poland, and often car queues of more than 30 hours, and even up to 60 hours sometimes before you can cross. And then people crossing by foot, and walking with children in the middle of the night, with children crying, carrying their pets with them. It's just a heartbreaking scene to see, and it really breaks your heart for the dear people of Ukraine. But the good news is that there are also there's such a great response. First of all, I just want to really say that the Polish people are such warm and generous people. They're really opening their homes. They're doing everything they can to help the people who are coming into Poland right now. And even on police cars, we see bumper stickers with the Polish and Ukrainian flag, and slogans say, "We are right behind you," or "We're supporting you." And it's so heartwarming. So there's this pain and this distress, this disaster that's happening here and has unfolded and escalating. At the other side, there's such a great response of people who want to help. There are people driving over from all over Europe with vans full of relief goods that just want to do an act of kindness and want to be here in the midst of all the despair and want to make a difference. And Operation Blessing is also on the ground here. And what we first did, as I mentioned, we first wanted to assess the needs and to see where we can serve best. And now we have a number of service points that we've set up. One of them is right at the Medica border, which is one of the main crossings from Lviv to Poland here, where many thousands are crossing day and night. And we've set up a food truck there where we're serving hot beverages. We're also will be serving hot meals from there very soon. We're working on scaling that up to serve like a large quantity of meals per day, because that's something that's really, really needed, particularly at the night time. So I'll come back to that particular need. And also we have heated tents set up where people can rest and recover, because often, imagine many people walking, having to queue up for hours in very cold temperatures and freezing. So we provide blankets to them. We have a space where they can recover and rest, and with a heater, so it's warm. And we have people who love and care for them and have a conversation with them, and also refer them, help them to find a safe shelter for the night, because not everyone knows where they're going. But the good news is also that the government and the authorities have put buses on transport here in action to take people to the refugees centers that are nearby and a bit further away. So, but often you have to wait to get onto a bus, and on the right bus as well, depending on where you want to travel. So that's one thing we're doing. We're also providing hygiene kits for people. Imagine traveling for days and not having the essential items with you. So we provide anything from toothbrushes for the kids to soap, deodorant, toilet rolls, and much more than and it's building as we're also receiving more goods to supply to the people here at the border crossing. As well as other points where we are servicing, because we're also serving the churches in Poland, and we're now building this network with churches, gathering information, and that's really opening up right now, because pastors and churches, they, out of the goodness of their heart, they allocate their own resources and funding to the outreach, and we've been in churches where they transformed the main auditorium into like a bedroom facility, a sleeping facility for people to spend the night. So they have to combine their normal church services and routine with this providing help for refugees and meeting their needs. But they're going to run out of supply soon, and they cannot sustain. So we're coming alongside them, alongside the churches and the pastors, to supply relief goods, meals, again, the hygiene items, and other support we can provide. And then thinking about the long-term situation, because children and adults have incurred tremendous trauma. And this is something we cannot fix at the border points, or we cannot fix in short term. So this is a long-term thing. So we're working together with Regent University and other partners to see how we can apply trauma care specialists to give trauma care to the children and to the adults that have incurred such trauma, and to help them on their way to recovery. So these are some of the things we're doing. We also have a presence in a very large refugee center, which is only 2 kilometers from the border, a bit further north from where we are. And there's thousands of people sleeping in that facility. And when we entered there are rooms for countries. So if you have a family member in Belgium or in Spain or in Italy, then there's a room for each country. You can sleep there, spend the night until transport is ready, and you can use the transport facilities to make your way to the family that you have a contact with. And those are the lucky ones, because then we entered into a massive hole full of people. And then we asked the person who was guiding us around the facility, and they said, well, what are these people? And where are they going to? They said, these are the people that have nowhere to go. And that's the vast majority of people. And those are people who've never set foot out of Ukraine, maybe not even out of their own village or town. You see, they're not familiar with traveling, not familiar with being in a different environment, and they don't know what to do. And to help those people is a priority, because, imagine that. It's just heartbreaking. And the children as well. I mean, these facilities have lights, bright lights, even shining through the night at times. And imagine having to sleep in such a facility. So Operation Blessing and CBN set up a children's room, a children's facility in that center. So we were allocated a big room, and we are providing a safe space for children and for mothers to come and just escape the reality of war for a moment, and just for children to be children again and to play. And so we have activities there that we share. We are also in the process of setting up like a TV where we can share Superbook episodes, and we can do wonderful activities with the children that will really take their eyes off their current situation, but also minister to them with Christ. And there are more initiatives developing as we are on the ground here, but that's where we are at the moment then.
Yeah, thank you so much for that update and for everything you guys are doing. And this is obviously a prayer event, and we're going to pray. And as I mentioned earlier, we want to pray as Christians because of course, we know the power of prayer. We know how prayer is essential for the Christian life and for need. But we also know that we are called to physically help as well. And so Operation Blessing is a great way to do that. You just heard Mark explain all of the things that they're doing down there. And so if you want to and you feel led to help those efforts on the ground, just text OBCrisis to 71777. That's OBCrisis to 71777 so that you can help those efforts on the ground. And Mark, I mean, it is critical what you were saying there. I mean, I think it's hard to imagine the uncertainty and the feeling of just confusion and shock that you must be feeling having to flee your home. We're going to talk to Luda here in just a minute, and she had to do just that very thing. And so
especially these families with young kids, as you were mentioning, in cold weather, and you don't even know where you're going to go. So to get across the border and to have friendly people there assisting you and ministering to you, I can't express words. I can't find the words to express how critical that is.
Absolutely, Dan. There was one thing I forgot to mention, which is a very critical part of our operation here. I'm here in a room of where we were based with our warehouse, and the Lord provided this amazing facility for us with 1,500 square meters of space and an office space from where we can receive and distribute goods right into Ukraine, and also to the pastors and the churches and the refugee centers here. And this is going to be a hub, and already is a hub because we already received the first truckload full of donated goods. It's going to be a hub that really will bless the people of Ukraine and also the people on both sides of the border. So just want to mention that because that's also a very critical part of our Operation Blessing relief efforts here.
All right, incredible stuff there. Appreciate that. And Mark, the families, once they get there, and you've helped them there with that direct assistance as they've fled and they've made it across the border. What is the process for them there? What is the goal for them? Are they finding temporary homes there? You mentioned people are opening up their homes, and God bless the Polish people there for being so generous with their homes. Is that sort of the temporary place that they're looking to get them, or is there another step after that?
Well, it varies for the families in my understanding, because many families, they really want to travel to their end destination, and they will have friends in Europe and family where they can stay. Those who don't have friends or connections, and so the vast majority of people, they would very likely settle here in Poland for the foreseeable future until they can go back. But we already heard many people say, we want to go back. We want to go back to the place where I grew up. But reality is, of course, very different, because no one knows how long this will take. But until then, the Polish government have accommodated refugees, and will continue to do so, is to allow them to work here, to provide funding for them, and also funding for the families who house them. So there's a real support system that's now being put in place. Also, the UNHCR are working together with all the NGOs here on the ground to work out a strategy, which they're releasing this week, to provide a 6-month plan how to reach out to the people who actually remain here in Poland. This is specifically for Poland. And of course, we also have similar conversations and arrangements being set up in the other countries, because don't forget, Poland, of course, is the country. The vast majority of refugees come through Poland and arrive in Poland. But we also have the other countries where people are fleeing to, including Moldova and Hungary and Slovakia, Romania. These countries also will have support systems in place. But for Poland here, the Polish government is very accommodating, and the Polish people are very, very welcoming.
All right, great information there, Mark, and great work on the ground there. Really appreciate that. And before we pray, I want to pray for all the efforts that are going on there. Mark, what would you just say are a couple key prayer points you would want people to focus on as we pray? And then I'd like to talk to Luda here, and then we can wrap because her story is kind of related to what you're doing. So we could wrap all that together in a prayer after we talk with her as well. But what are the prayer points you want people or think people should focus on?
First of all, I would say praying for the refugees who are crossing the border here day and night, that they will find a safe place for the night, and that also that the infrastructure will improve, because the queues are so long. I don't have the answer. I think probably no one has the real answer to this right now, but I'm really praying that people will not have to queue for so long, and that there will be a better resolution to that. Another big prayer point is for the churches that are serving the people here on this side of the border, because they are overworked. The pastors are having to take calls 24/7, taking people to safe locations, picking them up from the border point to the church. And they are tired and exhausted, and pray for support for them. Pray for more workers in the field, as we say that the harvest is great, but the workers are few. Same applies here. And then we need more help. Pastors need more help. And so for more volunteers to come, more people to come alongside of them, and really pray for, and this is my third prayer point, which is a very important one, I believe, is pray for protection over Western Ukraine, because the border crossings are currently open, and we pray they remain open, and that we continue to be able to bring relief goods into Ukraine, and of course that it will not further impact that military like attacks will not happen in the West here, so that our border points remain open and that people stay safe first and foremost, but also our operations will remain up and running.